Hello and welcome to Scientifically Speaking. Today we're going to be looking at a 3,700-year-old Babylonian stone tablet which has been translated and changes history. This is from a news outlet called Upworthy, and it says they were doing trigonometry 1,500 years before the Greeks. So trigonometry 1,500 years before the Greeks. Let's get into it. So apparently that's the picture. Okay. Dr. Daniel Mansfield and his team at the University of New South Wales in Australia have just made an incredible discovery. While studying a 3,700-year-old tablet from the ancient civilization of Babylon, they found evidence that the Babylonians were doing something astounding: trigonometry. Most historians have credited the Greeks with creating the study of triangles, sides and angles. But this tablet presents indisputable evidence that the Babylonians were using the technique 1,500 years before the Greeks ever were. Mansfield and his team are understandably incredibly proud. What they discovered is that the tablet is actually an ancient trigonometry table. Mansfield said, "The huge mystery until now was its purpose, why the ancient scribes carried out the complex task of generating and sorting the numbers on the tablet. Our research reveals that Plimpton 322 describes the shapes of right-angled triangles using a novel kind of trigonometry based on ratios, not angles and circles. It is a fascinating mathematical work that demonstrates undoubted genius." That sounds pretty incredible, that trigonometry based on ratios and not angles and circles. And it demonstrates undoubted genius. Now, I did a few pictures that it's quite amusing really, because they don't really show any more in the article. They don't show what ratios they're using, so I don't know what they've drawn or how the ratio works. But I used the golden ratio. I used a Fibonacci spiral. Let's see what else it says before I show my work from about 6 to 8 years ago. Aussie mathematician cracks code of famous 3,007-year-old Babylonian clay tablets. So I guess he's Australian. The tablet not only contains the world's oldest trigonometry table, it is also the only completed accurate trigonometry table because of the very different Babylonian approach to arithmetic and geometry. This means it has great relevance for our modern world. Babylonian mathematicians may have been out of fashion for more than 3,000 years, but it has possible practical applications in surveying, computer graphics and education. This is a rare example of the ancient world teaching us something new. The tablet predates Greek astronomer Hipparchus, who has been regarded as the father of trigonometry. Mansfield's colleague, Norman Weidherger, said Plimpton 322 predates Hipparchus by more than 1,000 years. It opens up new possibilities, not just for modern mathematics research, but also for mathematics education. With Plimpton 322, we see a simpler, more accurate trigonometry that has clear advantages over our own. A treasure trove of Babylonian tablets exist, but only a fraction of them have been studied yet. The mathematical world is only waking up to the fact that this ancient but very sophisticated mathematical culture has much to teach us. People were understandably excited by the news. Alright, so that's about it. So, Plimpton 322 describes the shapes of right-angled triangles using a novel kind of trigonometry based on ratios. So, the ratio that I used to figure out angles and triangles was a Fibonacci spiral, the golden ratio. So, let's now have a look at what I drew. I didn't go into it much, but I just thought if you didn't know an angle, if you drew a Fibonacci spiral, you should be able to work out the angles from that, because if you put squares around a Fibonacci triangle, you can break it down into a repeating pattern. So I just thought, let's see if I can find angles by using the Fibonacci sequence. So let's take a look at that. So this is my video from 6 years ago called the EM Field Bring It On Down, third musical edition of Energy Travel. I have a playlist of 5 of these, which I did over the years, and just threw some music to and put the papers online so that people could pause it and look at everything I'd ever drawn and looked at, or drawn and put on paper. So we're pretty close to wherever it is, so we probably should put the sound down. So here we go. So this is just a list of my papers. So right here, I'm using straight lines through different parts into the same parts of the Fibonacci spirals that are created, and this gave me angle lines. So this line is this line, is this line, is this line, or this one, this one, this one, and this one all follow round in a Fibonacci spiral, and it gives me angles. So then I moved on and I ended up doing it this way. So in here I've got angles, straight line angles, joined to exactly the same spots where they appear of, like, that from there to there is the beginning. This one from here to here, this one from here to here is the beginning of this one. This from here to here is the beginning of this one. So, and what I've put here is circumference to 222.5, half the radius distance, circumference to 222.5, half the radius length. So it's as if it's saying that once you double the radius length, you get exactly the same angle if you follow around the Fibonacci spiral. So I'm reversed engineering it and thought, how could I find angles using a Fibonacci spiral? So, and I've even written at the bottom there, not bad, because that's quite clever. But like, I knew it because it had been shown to me by God. So I just put down what was in my head, which is all these visions that God sent me in 2014. And every time something popped into my head, I would draw something. So this is me using the Fibonacci ratio to discover the same angle at each same point of the Fibonacci spiral. And then that one, 137.5, then half radius at circle to 137.5. So here we go again. All at 137.5. I've drawn all boxes here, which I'm trying to make the Fibonacci spiral bigger to see that if intersecting points on the same piece of Fibonacci spiral create angles. And they do. So really, I'm only just kind of... This is more of a guess than a confirmation. I'd be really interested to understand what ratios they're using instead of angles and circles. But it's plainly obvious from what I've got right here that that's what I did. I took a ratio, the Fibonacci ratio, the golden spiral, the golden ratio, and I made it several, like 3, all attached together. And if you do the consecutive points, you will get 137 degrees, 0.5, I guess, on there, at each point, which again then will give you a triangle or another angle. So that's how I worked it out. So whether or not that turns out to be true and they're using a Fibonacci spiral to work out angles, because this is a numerical thing and wherever you space them, it would put them up. I really wished I'd had a computer program where I could do a fractal, like a one of them ones you zoom in on. I can't even remember the name of it right now, but those ones you keep zooming in and it all remains the same. It'd be nice to see a Fibonacci spiral with all these different set points of angles within the Fibonacci spiral, which would, I see in my head, that it would eventually form 360 degrees and beyond, obviously. But all from a spiral, you can create every single angle by starting out at a different point of the Fibonacci spiral. I hope that was plain and simple, but there's evidence of me using a ratio to work out angles, find angles, and even create angles. And of course, this could be used in 3 dimensions. You just 90-degree turn the Fibonacci spiral, and this all would start again. So that's how easily you could work out geometry, X, Y, and Z planes of a Fibonacci spiral with all the intersecting lines going through it. I'm pretty certain it would form obviously a sphere. All right, thanks very much. My name is Lee. I follow the Christ, and I'm showing you all the things he showed me, which apparently are confirmed in a 3,700-year-old tablet that has now been shown to use ratios rather than angles and circles to work out trigonometry. Thanks a lot.